everybody. Welcome to the 31st episode of Let's Talk With You podcast. This is David Fitz with my special guest, Mr. J.S. Council. How are you doing? Hi. Say it again.
I'm sorry. Hi.
We're talking over each other.
I know, my bad.
And we had a wonderful episode about her life as a writer, married life, coming back home after venturing out to the world on the magical quest of finding a significant other.
Definitely.
Let's see. We talked about writing, everything else under the sun. What else did we talk about?
We talked about my time in Japan, teaching with the kids, and we also touched on some of the, crazy hatred and crap that's going on in the world today, and what else did we talk about? We talked about how awesome writing is and how my story started.
And I thought about it. Oh, okay, Ninja Turtles. Yeah.
Yes, Ninja Turtles, which you have to watch as soon as we get off the phone.
Yes, I will. And by the time everyone's hearing this, The Force Awakens was an awesome movie.
Yes.
Wait, I said The Force Unleashed, that's a game. Wait, that's an awesome game. But Force Awakens was an awesome movie. It destroyed box office records, everything, and it's the best Oscar for the year. Oh wait, that might be going too far, but we'll see. But awesome, everybody. I know you're like, oh, why don't they just shut up and stop talking and let's listen? So I guess I'll stop talking and let y'all listen. Welcome to the Let's Talk With You podcast. I am joined with author, teacher, extraordinaire, J.S. Council. How are you doing this evening?
I'm good. How are you?
Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you for coming on our show, and it's like your time, I guess, have you on talk about your writing, teaching, anime, comic books, conventions, everything. So this is all about you and the things that you enjoy.
Sweet. I enjoy a lot of different things. Everything from dancing, karaoke, to, writing. I even do, my husband and I have gotten into some wheeling with our Jeeps and stuff like that. So a huge variety of different things that I like to get into, which is always nice.
Nice. You said wheeling, so can you tell us a little bit about your enjoyment of that?
Yeah. My husband has a Jeep Wrangler, and I have a Jeep Grand Cherokee. And, the Cherokee, we're still getting that one, kind of rolling. It has some motor issues, but the Wrangler, sometimes we'll just take like a Sunday drive, and instead of, Sunday driving on the road, we like to, find some off-road sites where we can, go and drive, through the woods or something like that. We're kind of new-ish to, I'm not new to North Carolina, but we just moved back here from D.C., so we haven't really found any good, off-road sites that we can go and, go wheeling. So that's always, it's an adventure. I like it.
Hey, take your time. You all have plenty of time to find places for yourselves.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm discovering more people who like to do it, so it would be nice to have like a little, group of people who like to go out and, do that.
Nice. maybe you can get contacted for like one of those commercials, and it's like, yeah, we're gonna do one of the advertisement commercials, like driving off road.
Yeah, that would
Yeah,
be awesome.
yeah.
That would be really cool.
Nice. I know you said that you're coming, you just moved back to North Carolina, so I take it you are from here, right?
I'm from North Carolina. I was actually born and raised right here in Durham. Well, born in Chapel Hill. Go Tar Heels. I know. Go
Yes.
Tar Heels.
Go, yeah.
But
Go Tar
I
Heels. Go
was,
Tar Heels. Yes.
huh?
I say yes. Go Tar Heels. Yes.
Yes, go Tar Heels.
Yes.
And but I grew up in Durham. I did grow up in Durham. I really do love it here. I was really excited to move back. Um, I always said the only reason why I left was to find my husband, and once I found him, I came back as soon as humanly possible.
Nice.
So that was always, it was good. It was good. I mean, living abroad and in other states, I mean, it's something that you probably really should do in your life, but once you realize how big the world is, you're like, okay, I need my nice small town feel now.
Yes. And I have yet to go into the world, but I understand that feeling of this. I'm from Durham as well, and just kind of hearing stories from people who have gone out in the world and like, yeah, it's time for me to come back here.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you get homesick. You really do. Like when when I was in Japan, it was awesome. It really was. I absolutely love the people. The food is phenomenal. But you do kind of get homesick. For some of the things that you can't get over there, like peanut butter. I mean, things like syrup. Just the southern cooking. I mean, you can't get that stuff in Japan. You really can't. I mean, it was so nice getting those care packages with like hour size cereal boxes and that kind of stuff. But I'll tell you what, I lost a lot of weight over there.
Wow. That's something I didn't think about in terms of what you don't get overseas. That's
Right.
something to know. Like, so like your time in Japan, like what were you doing in Japan?
I went to Japan twice actually. I went as an exchange student when I was in college, and that was the first time that I went, and I was really excited, about that. I really enjoyed myself. And then I enjoyed it so much that after I graduated, um, I decided to go back. So I graduated in 2010, and almost a year later, in 2011, it was actually more like 10 months later. In 2011, I left again. I was like, okay, I'm going. And then I stayed there for a year and a half. The first time it was a year, and then the second time it was a year and a half. And the second time and um, the first job I had over there, I was teaching children of all ages, but they were elementary kids mostly. Um, and then the second job I had, I was teaching everything from 1-year-old who was in my classroom to like 65-year-olds who knew English, but they just needed somewhere to practice English. So we would just basically talk the entire time in English, and I would get paid to just have good conversation with people. That was amazing. That was really amazing.
So what was your so what type of training did you have to do to become a teacher?
Almost none, to be completely honest. They as long as you have a degree, a 4-year degree, and they do that mainly because of visa purposes, not because they actually care that you have a 4-year degree. You can have it in music or engineering and still be able to teach English with them. The orientation, we did have like a whole 2 week orientation, and that was basically to, kind of get you acclimated into the Japanese culture and like, because they're huge, huge on respect in Japan. So they kind of, let you know what's respectable and what's not, and those kind of things. For people like me, when I went over to start teaching, I knew Japanese already because I had lived there for a year and I learned. And so some people they didn't know any Japanese at all, and some people they did know Japanese. So we would kind of help the people that didn't know Japanese to kind of learn a few words or phrases that might help them get along, and those kinds of things. But mainly we just learned how to kind of deal with the children and learn the rules about like if something were to happen. Like for example, this actually happened to me. Two children got into a fight right in front of me. And it wouldn't have been so bad had the fight not been on the stairs. So one kid was running, the other one pushed them, and they were right at the stairs. And right as one, the kid was getting up, he was, gonna be pushed down the stairs essentially. Had I not kind of like swooped in there and grabbed the kid that was charging him, and what I learned was it wasn't necessarily what I was supposed to do. You're not necessarily supposed to put your hands on on the kids, even if they're about to hurt themselves. But it was kind of like an instinctual kind of thing. But I mean, I didn't get in trouble for it or anything like that. But they just wanted to, make sure that nobody was hurt in the process. And I was like, well, I'll take it because if not, then that kid would have been tumbling down the stairs. So I was like, I'll take this lesser of two evil things. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was interesting.
I can imagine that. Yes. So what were some of the things that you learned overseas?
Wow, I learned a lot. I learned that it really is kind of a situation of nature versus nurture. I'm kind of more on the nurture field now, whereas it's really is the society you live in, the how you see people react to things. I mean, um, hatred and intolerance and all of this other stuff that we're seeing now, unfortunately, in this country, is not natural. That's not how people naturally are. It was very difficult. Other than the kids that I worked with, I never saw a Japanese person angry. I never saw like um, they're always very polite. They're always very happy when you see them. They're very courteous, and it's really safe over there. I mean, the biggest problem that you'll probably have is someone stealing your umbrella, or your bicycle. That's a big one, And yes, it is very annoying, but it is not the worst thing that can happen to you in this life. And I did really appreciate how beautiful life actually is over there. Just enjoying the people and the um, just the fact that a lot of people they try to help you whenever they can. They will literally go out of their way. It is completely inconvenient to them, but they will go out of their way to make sure that you have what you need. And it kind of reminded me a little bit of, being in the South. People do that here as well, although admittedly they don't do it as much, right, as they did in Japan. But I mean, it was quite amazing. I definitely learned a lot about myself and a lot about how you know uh, things are different in other countries. You know, they
Mm.
really aren't. Not every country is made the same.
That's very true. And I was trying to think of the word to describe what you were saying about people. It seems like you have more selfless people there than that stereotype of the South is that everybody is a certain way. But I'm noticing nowadays that thing is changing about Southern hospitality.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's true. And it's actually quite interesting too. You can see the hospitality level in the driving too. I mean, it's actually kind of interesting. You can tell if somebody or if an area is nice whether if they slow down when you put on your signal. You're right. If they know you're trying to come over, they don't speed up, right? They slow down to let you over. And I'm actually seeing a little bit less of that now than I used to, way back when. And I'm not necessarily sure why that is. Is it just that we're all in a high stakes time now? Is it we're all kind of like on edge. What is it? It's very interesting.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Like especially like I see some of that like in crosswalks. Like people like, they'll speed up when you're like when you have the right of way. Just like can you give me a few seconds to get across the street? But it's like no, everybody's busy.
Right, right,
So
exactly. Yeah, I mean, I want to say that it's definitely a phase, perhaps. It's one of those things that we're dealing with so much as a nation, and we're going through a lot of different changes here with all the different kinds of movement happening at the same time. I would love to. Uh, I would love to think that this will all be kind of like a little phase, and it'll pass momentarily.
right, I agree. Yeah, I and with this now being like the holiday time, you would think everyone would be more like the happy-go-lucky sorts, but we're not seeing a lot of that. I mean, I don't know about you, but I haven't seen a lot of it.
No, actually, it was the weirdest thing when so I was driving to work and I was trying to get over, and this truck. It was this large. I'm not necessarily sure what kind of truck it was. I want to say it was a large F-150 kind of truck, but he had on the truck had antlers on, right? The little car antlers.
Right.
It was so cute. But the truck totally set up when I was trying to get over. It was a total, uh, not the word that I actually am allowed to say again. But
Gotcha.
it was mean. It was really mean. I was like, really? You can't wear the deer antlers on your car and then drive like a douche. You just can't do it.
Yeah, I'm like apparently they're late to get back to Santa or something. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'm like, what? What was that? Thank you. Merry Christmas to you too, you jerk. But yeah,
Right.
very interesting stuff.
I understand, and before we move on, I forgot to ask you like how long have you and your husband been married?
We actually are newlyweds. We got married this summer.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing the newlywed thing.
Uh, if I had the music like play the newlywed game, I would play that music. Ah, that's funny. Ah,
We've been pretty good at it. We've made a habit of finishing each other's sentences, which is very funny. Even
nice.
like we'll say jinx and then we'll say jinx again because we said jinx at the same time too. So it for anybody watching us, they like throw up in their mouths a little. I'm sure.
Ah, Hey, and enjoy the time. You're gonna have plenty of years to grow, and I'm happy to see happy couples and like don't see like you see happy couples, but it's like people that I don't hear too much about the finishing each other's sentences a lot. Like that's I'm happy to hear stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. We've been doing it since we met. Like the first day we met, we were uh, finishing each other's sentences, and it's interesting. We were like, oh well, this will stop. It never did, so we were like, okay, well, I guess we'll just make a game out of it because it just keeps happening.
Nice, nice. I wish you two the best of luck and enjoy this holiday season together.
Oh, definitely.
Oh.
Is my husband works at the Museum of Life and Science in Durham, and so they always have the Santa train um, during the holiday season, and so that's where he is now. He's kind of working the Santa train because they only run it at night, and like the little kids, they'll go and they'll get on the train, and then they'll go to their equivalent of the North Pole, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll talk to Santa and tell Santa what they want, and then they'll come back. It's very cute.
Yeah, I haven't been on the Santa train in like 3 years. I think
Oh
it
wow,
was like
nice.
like the it was like during the day, so it was like I think it was like early Christmas season, so they were still setting up. But I was like, this is nice. I really always want to see that at night, but like I've never gone. So
You should. You definitely should. It's cute. Take like a young niece or nephew or a cousin or something like that, and they'll totally enjoy it.
yeah, I'll have to like get one of my cousins to come in town, like one of the younger ones, like, hey, come with me. I'm gonna take you somewhere for me. I mean for you. Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yes.
This is totally for me. I mean you. I mean yes.
It's just like that meme that's kind of going around like showing the Pixar movies coming out in the next few years. It's like
Right.
this is me online like the tall person with the little kids. I'm like, yep, that'll be me.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
Yeah. It's funny. I get more excited about movies coming out and all that kind of stuff. Like I absolutely cannot wait until the Ninja Turtles movie, the second one, comes out. I'm dying over here.
that's
I'm
right.
like, look, why is it taking 6 months for this thing to come out? But they know they should like put it out right now.
So I have to ask. Okay. Oh well, before I ask, I'll tell people. So we're recording this. The new trailer just came out yesterday, and that was December 10th.
Yeah.
So what did you think of the first one?
I actually like the first one. I mean, I am a huge, huge critic of the noses. I do not like the fact that they put noses on the turtles at all. Not a big fan of that. Um, but I do like the action was great. Um, they did an okay job with the storyline, um trying to link uh, the turtles with Rachel. That was interesting. I didn't expect for them to do that, so
Okay.
that was actually pretty interesting. And basically, if you really like action, like a lot of action with slow mo and like all that kind of stuff, then yes, that would be good. How about
Okay.
you? Did you like it?
I admit I've never saw it.
Oh,
I know.
this interview is over. No, I'm just kidding.
All right. Okay. Fine. Thanks for being on the show. Okay. We'll talk to you later. Bye. Okay. Cool. Cue music. Okay. Let me stop. But no.
Right.
I the reason. Okay. Like I still want to watch it. I do. I think what I let happen. I let people who saw it and were like, "It's not good." I let that influence me.
See, it's easy to do because the only reason why I saw it in the movies actually, and I went on like a bad date, and I saw it in the movie, and so say, he wanted to see it, and I was like, okay, whatever, fine, we'll see it. Stupid noses. And I I actually enjoyed it. It was the best part of the date. I don't remember anything else about that date at all, except for the movie. So it was actually pretty good. I really enjoyed it.
Got you. Yeah, I know it's on Netflix, I think, so I'll give it a shot.
Yeah. I mean, my husband hadn't seen it either, actually. Um, he hadn't seen it because he thought it was going to be bad as well. And when it came out on Netflix, we saw it because I was like, "No, you have to see this movie. This cannot happen this way." And he was like, "Okay, sure, why not? Whatever." And by the end of it, he was like, "Oh my god, this movie's awesome!" So, but he's a huge action buff, though, so it had a lot of action for him.
Okay.
So if you're going for remarkable storyline, don't go for the remarkable storyline.
that was what I was wanting to hear, and I kept hearing the story's not good, but the action's good, but the story's not good. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, see, the storyline is okay. I've seen way worse storylines. I've seen way worse storylines. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be winning any Grammys for the story. I mean, for Oscar or anything like that for the storyline. Not at all. But it definitely it'll wow you in terms of its action, capacity and how that whole thing just came together.
Okay.
It also has some really really cool, more like cute, less cool, more cute, kind of touchy brotherly moments or whatever that are also funny. So I mean that's always nice to have some comedy in there as well. So I think they did a good job.
Okay.
I think it's a pretty good job. It is not a bad remake.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop recording now, and I'm gonna go watch it on Netflix and come back in like 2 hours.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So, and we're waiting, and we're waiting. Okay, cool. Um, but yeah, I really will give it a shot. Like you've convinced me now, because like I was like, all right, because I saw the new trailer, and I was like, this looks really good. Like, and you may not like for me to say this, but I didn't really watch a lot of Turtles in the '90s. I watched like the newer version.
Right.
Cause
Yeah, monsters. They don't know what's good for them, though.
yeah, like I guess like when I was a kid, like the most turtles I think I saw. I mean, I think I watched it on occasion, and I was at the age of like not really following too many shows except for, like the ones I memorized the times for. Or get this, kids, I set a VCR and recorded things. Um, and when like kids are like, "What is a VCR?" Uh,
Yeah, right.
I set it for like the shows like I knew I wanted to watch, but then like Turtles I just never followed. And like I went to like, one of my neighbors' houses, and they had the toys, like they had the car, I think is with the Shell Razor, I think, and
Right.
um and some of the action figures, and I was like, okay, cool. But like what kind won me over with Turtles was when they had the crossover with Power Rangers in space.
Right.
And that's when I was like, okay, Turtles are cool because they were Power Rangers. Cool, okay.
Yeah, Power Ranger turtle things.
Yes. So,
So,
but like I did like the new trailer. I really liked it.
yeah.
Like because of the newer show, like the new, yeah, the on Nickelodeon. Like I've got to learn about Casey Jones more, and the Crane, and
Right.
everybody. So seeing the trailer, I was like, I feel like I understand something now. And
Yeah. I loved, when I was growing up, my brother and I had everything uh, when it came to Ninja Turtles. I mean, we had Ninja Turtles cups. We had Ninja Turtles the little eating trays that you can eat in the living room. We had everything. It was pretty bad.
Wow.
But then, once we got a little older, we started um, kind of phasing out of the Ninja Turtles just a little bit, not a whole significant amount. I mean, we used to, play imaginary, we used to pretend to be like one or two of the turtles and have like their powers, and then go to different boards and like fight villains and all this other stuff with like this little magic elevator that we made up in the corner of our room. It was wonderful. And we just really took it away. So I mean, Ninja Turtles is one of like my favorite childhood memories. And the movies and all that kind of stuff. But I will say this, that I am really, really excited about Arrow. I know you watch Arrow,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm very excited about Arrow being.
I'm not caught up on Arrow, but I watch it.
I'm not caught up either, so
Yes.
no spoilers.
All right. Cool.
No spoilers will be had.
Yes.
I am not caught up at all on Arrow. I watched The Flash. I finished the first season of that. Actually, I didn't even watch the second season of the Flash. Yet it's not out on Netflix, so
No, it's still ongoing. I have like 4 episodes of that, and I'm caught up on that.
Nice.
But we can talk about the first season of Flash. And how far are you into Arrow? I mean, but I know you were saying about Stephen Amell coming into Turtles. I forgot. I cut you off. I apologize.
Yeah. Oh no, that was fine. I was just talking about how I was very excited about him being Casey Jones, just because, for one, I haven't seen him in anything else but Arrow. So I'm really happy that the actor himself is kind of branching out and doing other things. Also, I mean, he's just exciting to watch. but yeah, they I don't exactly know. It seems like his role as Casey Jones is almost the same role that he plays as Arrow. Does that seem like that to you, or am I just crazy?
It does. It seems like from what we saw in the trailer, it kind of seems like one of his like moments of him talking with his friends, of like the lighthearted moments, or he's talking like to somebody on the street, where it's like, "Hey, how are you doing?"
Right.
It because I'm pretty sure we may see some of that. You feel the city. I'm pretty sure we'll see some of that in the movie at some point, with if they make Casey Jones dark at all, but I don't expect it.
Right. Right. So I don't. It would be interesting if they did make him dark. That would be kind of cool, but I don't think they will. Not, at least not for this movie.
No.
For another movie, yeah, maybe. Especially if that's kind of how it happened in the comics and all that. Or in the old story, rather.
I'm really hoping that this movie, like, I know we saw the trailer that there's some portal in the sky. I'm like, is that gonna be the Krang or something? I hope, please.
Right? I was just happy that they put the rhino and the pig in there.
Oh yes, it was in Bebop and Rocksteady, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Rocksteady and Bebop. They totally put those two in there. But I actually have no idea if they're gonna, what role the Crane is gonna play. It's very interesting.
Yeah, because I heard the story of the first movie, how the mutagen was made from some science experiment. I'm like, no, but okay.
Right. Yeah, they did get a bit creative with the backstory. They got a bit creative with that, and I don't know as of this point whether or not I like that or not. Sometimes a bit of creation can actually, work to the to the favor of the movie. But sometimes if you get a little too ambitious about it, it can be, a bit detrimental. So
True.
actually, I'm not sure yet whether or not I appreciate that change.
Okay. Well, we'll have to have you back on when Turtles 2 comes out and get your opinion.
Yeah, exactly. Because I will be seeing it in the movies.
Will you be one of those like day one people?
Huh?
Or you be one of those one of those day one night one kind of?
If I can swing it, I'll have to see, what my husband's schedule is and all that. And if I can swing it, then probably. But I do know that we like to see movies, depending on the movie. We like to see movies like maybe the next Saturday or Sunday, one of the first movies, just because it's less people and, it's always kind of a better experience than yelling children and all that good jazz.
Yeah.
But they can kill the movie experience sometimes.
Oh, sure. Are you going to see Star Wars since it comes out next Friday?
Yes.
Okay.
I would love to. I'm not necessarily sure when. I don't know if we're going to see it next Friday or if we're going to see it. My brother actually works in a movie theater, so we may go see it with him.
Okay.
Because I know he's going to see it, and everybody's really excited about it. So that's.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm like, can it be next Friday now, please?
Right. Have they did you get your tickets and stuff?
I did. I'm going to like a morning show.
Oh, okay. On Friday?
Yep.
You were totally ditching work for that.
Well, we'll talk about that off off recording. Well, I'm gonna be. Well, yeah. We'll talk about that after. But yeah, I want to go early to where it's like, hopefully there will be no line.
Yeah.
And
we like to do it when we do it because it's no competition for seats and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I mean, I know I had some things to do for my job, but those are things that can be done earlier the day before or when I get out the theater.
Right.
So if people are asking like, what do you want to talk about? Like, no, I just know my schedule. But that yeah, I'm like, don't show me any more trailers. I heard yesterday that the Chinese trailer, like this new trailer, apparently gives out plot details. I'm like, I don't want to see it. I refuse. I don't want to. I mean, I don't mind seeing the posters; those are cool. The TV spots are cool, but for the love of God, if anybody who sees it on the 17th at night gets on Facebook and is like, "This is what happens," I'm like, I'm unfriending you.
Yep, that's pretty much it. I hate it. I hate the spoilers. It's like, oh my god, I'm fucking dying. What?
Because have you seen like there's a excuse me, like there's a clip from the Simpsons episode where Marge and Homer go see Empire Strikes Back and Homer walks out the theater. He's like, "Can you believe that Darth Vader is Luke's father?" And people are like, "Oh, what?" Like,
I have not seen that episode, or at least that I remember, but that is funny.
I don't think I've seen that.
That's how it happens too. Like you go and see an awesome movie, but then the people that saw it before you are talking about the movie as you're waiting to go see it. So it just ruins the whole thing. It's like, dude, why? What did I do to deserve this?
Because I had like a moment of that last month at NC Comic Con, and like I was in line to play a game there, and people were talking about Naruto and like the new movie and stuff, and they were talking about like the later half of Shippuden and things, and I'm standing there like, I'm so far behind, and y'all ruining things, but I don't care.
Yeah, anime is almost like a no-go me just because I've fallen so behind in everything, everything. Naruto, Bleach. Don't even get me started with One Piece. I mean, I don't even think I can catch up with One Piece. Honestly, I don't. I really don't. It would have to. I would have to quit my job and then just do nothing but watch One Piece for the rest of my life in order to catch up with One Piece.
Yeah, I mean I've never started One Piece because I know it's so long.
Yeah, it is ridiculously long. I mean, it's unprecedentedly long. I mean, I thought that Dragon Ball Z was long, right? That
Yeah.
it was Dragon Ball Z was like 275 episodes before, ending with the Boo saga, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
but One Piece, good gracious, it is like, it's a good 700 or 800 episodes now.
Good God, I can't do that.
Yeah, it's not one of those things where you start now. If you haven't started already, just don't. Don't do it to yourself because you're gonna open up wounds that just shouldn't be opened. I mean, ever.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's just like a few earlier this week. One of my friends was over and we were talking about Naruto, and he said that the Boruto movie, I guess, was back in theaters or something, and I was like, remind me who that is again, because he saw it, and I was like, yeah, this is where I am in Shippuden. And I'm like, yeah, at this point, some characters are still alive, and this is what's going on. He's like, yeah, you're really far behind.
Yeah, because I did hear I heard that not specifically who dies, but a lot of people die basically.
Yeah.
Like it's Game of Thrones on steroids, really bad.
Yeah.
But I don't know exactly how true that is. I'm hoping that it's not so true, just because I've kind of gotten attached to all the characters.
Yeah, the last death that I saw kind of came out of nowhere for me, and then I was like, I gotta stop watching this for a little bit.
Right,
I mean,
right. And I don't know if you tell me that one because I don't know
well,
where you are.
well, I'm in season 2 on Shippuden, and the last episode I looked at was like, or one of the last ones I looked at was like they were trying to find, they had just found Orochimaru's hideout, and now they're like tracking him down, and Naruto and Jiraiya are still training.
Oh, Pervy Sage?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I passed that.
Okay, so I was talking about Awesome's death then. Okay, cool.
Yes, that one was actually quite tough. I did not expect that.
Yeah, I was like, and I felt bad for is it Kurenai at the funeral. I was like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah, I did not expect that. I thought that they were going to find a way to, frankly, keep him alive or something, but they just did not comply at all.
Yeah.
They did not comply with that.
Because that was one of the ones I think I watched it on Hulu first, and then I don't know if Disney XD was still showing Naruto at that point. I don't remember, but I was kind of curious to see how were they going to handle that situation because that's when I kind of learned that um, anime dubs are different on what platform you look at it on or what service, like whether it's Disney where it's Disney edit and then there's a real dub.
Right.
Like there was one episode where Kakashi is talking to I think Tamari. Tamari is from Gara's with Gara's team. If I'm not, am I right? Am I wrong?
The girl with the fan.
Yeah, I couldn't remember what team she was with.
Gara.
Right. So he's talking to her, and the Disney edit, she says something like, "You don't understand women." So then,
Yeah.
then the regular version, she says that's sexual harassment. And
Interesting.
I'm like, huh. And like the rest of the episode, it was like word for word the same until I got to that piece of dialogue, and then I was like, oh, I see.
Mhm.
But I'm really curious about all the things that we've discussed. Like I mentioned at the beginning of our episode that you are a writer. So
Yeah.
how does like your love of everything from like turtles, anime, Star Wars, everything that you're into, like how does all that connect with your love of writing?
Actually, in a very big way. It's funny. You know, I discovered that it is actually quite difficult for me to decide. When I was in college, it was quite difficult for me to decide what I wanted to do. What I wanted to major in and what my interests were because I was interested in everything, right? I went from, wanting to be a scientist to wanting to be an archaeologist, then wanted to be, I wanted to be an actress, and then I wanted to be like um, a crime scene investigator, even. I mean, it was just no holds barred on all the things that I wanted to do with my life. And then I realized that I was very good at, and I have always been very good at writing. And so I was always very, um, I was always very reluctant to go into that field just because I wasn't sure whether or not, um, it would be successful just because it's writing is one of those things that you can be one of the best writers ever and nobody knows who you are, or you can not be able to write so well but have a very good story that has a niche in society, and then there you go. You got your stuff going. You're going in vampires everywhere. You know what I mean? And it's just kind of like, do I really want to play into this or don't I? Um, but ultimately, writing kind of prevails because it's one of those things where I've always enjoyed doing it. And with everything that I love to do, from anything Japanese culture to my love of anime to my love of, things like Star Trek and Star Wars and all of that kind of stuff, it really does play into um, my creation. My uh, putting pen to paper and actually creating a world for my characters to live in. I wouldn't be able to do that without um, having the baseline of creativity, instilled in me through all of my different endeavors, basically.
Mm-hmm. So how do you like you mentioned like a lot of things. I'm gonna come back to the love of both Star Trek and Star Wars later, but like taking the different things that you've done. Like I know like I've read two of your books,
Mm.
and
Which I very much so appreciate. Yep.
yes, I really like them, and like you do a wonderful job of the storytelling, and like one thing is that I always can tell like successful writers or authors is it's that thing of reading a book or reading a story and you forget that you're reading and you start having that mental movie in your head.
Yes.
So what is your process of like, because I know everybody has their own process. So what is your process of working diligently to make sure that you can portray that imagery for your readers?
It's actually very interesting that you put it like that, with actually having a movie in your head. When I write, the first thing that I usually do when I'm writing is I will um I'll kind of visualize what I want my story to be, And by doing that, I will also kind of um, I'll visualize what my characters are, what um, the setting is going to be, what my world is like, what they're feeling. I'll write out all of my character backstories and what their role is in the story itself. Um, and I'll kind of do what J.K. Rowling did when it comes to writing out each chapter of the book before you write it. I can't do what Stephen King does. Stephen King will just, he'll just write. He'll put himself in a situation and he'll just write, and it'll just come out word perfection. I can't do that. I will, however, I love to make writer's journals first. And in my writer's journal, I'll make out the character bio, the setting, the story itself. I'll outline the plot, and it's very structured. But then when I'm actually writing, I see it as I'm writing it. I hear it as I'm writing it. So whenever if the characters are having an argument or something like that, I actually it's kind of weird. I'll actually feel the anger that my characters are feeling at the time, and I'll write what my characters are feeling based off of what I'm feeling. I'll also if say my characters are in a life and death situation, I'll write the fear. I'll see it kind of happening. As I'm writing it down, like I'm watching a movie, and I'm just watching that whole thing play out, and I'll write down exactly what my characters are feeling during the heightened senses and they are startled or something like that. I'll be able to write those things down and really convey to the reader what um, what the characters are feeling, because I myself will actually put myself in their shoes.
Okay. That's that's a really good way to put it, because that's something that I've been thinking about, because I'm trying to write a story as well, but I know I think I kind of get caught up into the let me try to create an entire universe where it's like, no, I should have just started with one part of it, but I got focused on the bigger thing.
Right. Go
But,
big or go home.
true.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Yeah, I also created an entire world, right? Um, where people really do live, breathe, and they die for their country. They have all of these different kinds of loyalties, and I mean, you have issues with race there, and I mean everything. It's a very in depth kind of world, but I think the reason why I can kind of first of all, I would say don't put all of your all of your eggs in one basket when it comes to creating universes. I mean, some things need to be saved for the next book. Um, like for example, book three. Um, in my book three, we're going to discover a land beyond Airion. It's called Nelon. And Nelon is a part of Airion, yes, but it's also, it really hasn't been mentioned very much in the last couple of novels. And it's also, kind of a place where it all started, when the characters, uh, not the characters, but when the Airians, um, were out of the water before the Great Flood, before they actually, came down into the ocean where they now reside. Um, Everyone lived on land, and Neon was the only nation of Airion that they stayed on land when everyone else fled. So it's going to be a very interesting, little piece to the puzzle. Things are not as they seem. For the people who's read the book, the twins are, there's a prophecy where the twins are supposed to do this, or they're supposed to be this way, and in this one they discover it's not so cut and dry. There are things that you may or may not know. So that's going to be really exciting.
And for our listeners, like, can you tell us like a little bit like about like how did your series come to be? Like, yeah, how did your series come to be? And like, and when did you like realize that you want to go down this venture of writing a series?
The second that I realized I wanted to write a series, I was taking classes because I did major in creative writing. So I was taking creative writing classes and all of this stuff, trying to really enjoy my writing and um, trying to figure out what I really wanted to do, which of course writing it was a no-brainer, as I was taking my classes and learning more and more about it. But the story itself derives from believe it or not, it was like a puddle in my room. It was in my dorm room. And it wasn't necessarily it was in one of those, like, suites, but it was like ground floor kind of suite thing.
Mm-hmm.
And in my room, it was a carpeted room, far away from the window or anything like that. There was a wet spot in the carpet. I have no idea where the wet spot came from. I think it may have been like a water pipe leak or something like that under my floor. But it just appeared there out of nowhere. And I could not figure out for the life of me why that appeared that way. So I was like, that would be an interesting movie, or all of a sudden you have like this puddle in your floor, and it would be cool if something came out of it, Also, have you ever watched Courage the Cowardly Dog?
Yes.
Okay, so they had an episode on Courage the Cowardly Dog, and it was about this underwater world, and the people came through the puddle of water, and they had this really high, sophisticated world that they were all in, and they completely kidnapped the mom. And they totally kidnapped the mom and was trying to get, like, Courage and the dad or whatever to come down there. Courage, of course, had to save them because the dad didn't believe anything that Courage said, as true to form.
Right.
And so that he totally went down there and saved them, and all of that. So it was a cute episode, for one. It was a very cute episode. But then it got me thinking when I saw the puddle in my room. I was like, that would be very interesting if you actually made that little segment right there in a book. So I decided to kind of explore that. And then I got my writer's journal out. By that time, I had started keeping one for class. I hadn't started writing just yet, but I was keeping one for my class. My teacher at the time said that it was a good idea to just keep notepad or something like that on you, so you can write at a moment's notice. You know, kind of like our little assignment, to be able to write at a moment's notice. So that's what I did. I kept that on me so I could write at a moment's notice. And yeah, it was amazing. I started writing, and I started, thinking of different scenarios and why would it be down there. And it was just a huge process that I underwent, and it was a really really cool experience in figuring out like the characters. And it took 4 years to write my first novel, just because I had no idea what I was doing, and I had no idea where I was going with it, and things like that. But after I actually kind of got a heading, um, it was nice, and I was forced to do that because my thesis for college was the first 4 chapters of my novel, so it was nice.
Okay. So and like before we wrap things up here, like so how was the you said you had it for your as part of your thesis, so how did that process go?
So when I was writing my thesis, I had to, um, we wrote in class mostly, and then the time that we didn't write in class, we would peer edit. So I would have people like peer editing the first 4 chapters, um, and we would go one chapter at a time, and uh, make sure that all of our we would make sure that all of our, T's were crossed and our I's were dotted and that kind of thing. We would help each other to, create a stronger story if the story wasn't strong enough, if the characters weren't strong enough. Um, we would go through and kind of help each other with the process of, fixing those kinds of, um, not necessarily mistakes, but we would just kind of help each other along. If we had like writer's block, we could ask for advice, or something like that. If we weren't sure exactly like where we wanted to go with a piece, um, and even some people even like scrap uh, their entire works and decided to go with something else, um, just purely based off of the peer editing. So I mean that was nice. It was humbling too, because I mean, as a writer, you think that yes, my work is awesome, or at least you want people to say that, right? Even if you don't necessarily believe it, you would like others uh, to think that your work is awesome.
Right.
But it's tough when you realize that no, you have work to do. I mean, there is still work to do. Nobody ever wants to hear that.
No, they don't. But one thing I can say I learned since I started my writing is like it's good to have critical feedback.
Yes,
Because
definitely. I mean, it's a necessary evil.
yeah,
It really is a necessary evil.
because it helps you go from yeah, this is really awesome, this is the best thing, and then someone's like you might want to go back and redo that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Especially before, if you have people that are, really trying to see you succeed, and I would definitely recommend getting, some of that. I mean, that's just a great thing to have if somebody is saying things and like, look, I know this isn't what you want to hear, but you might have to look at this again because I'm not feeling it, bruh. I'm not feeling it.
Yeah. So, what is some? Well, I have you for 3 minutes. Like, what is like some advice you could give to writers, of any type of, whether they're newbies or experienced writers, and just someone that's just like, I really want to try this. And what would you say to them?
I would say definitely try it. I mean, don't. Writing is a lot more difficult than the the authors that are big today would like you to think. It's a process. It really is. I mean, it takes discipline. It's very easy to get unmotivated um, or like discouraged. Writer's block is definitely everything it seems, right? It's not a very easy thing to overcome. Sometimes it can last for days, hours, months, years. Um, but I definitely say keep at it. Have your process because your process is very important. It really is. It's one of those things where if you don't have it, uh, then you can just throw your entire game off. Just like with writing Japanese, if you don't write Japanese in the right stroke orders, you're not going to write it correctly. I mean, it's just you have to have it that way. And I mean, I know some people who their quirk is they have to have the house completely spotless and clean before they can start writing. That's fine. Embrace your quirks, embrace that, and really just love what you do and love the stories that you tell, and just really embrace your love for writing. Is what I would probably say. Just enjoy every moment that you have, with writing, and enjoy the story that you're telling. See the story like a movie, and if you see it like a movie, then it'll when people read it, it will read as if they're right there. They're seeing it. They're hearing it. They're feeling the feelings that the characters have and everything like that. It's not necessarily they're feeling what the characters were feeling. They're actually feeling what you were feeling when you wrote it. So I think that would probably be my biggest advice is just definitely love writing like you love life.
Awesome. So, where can people find your work?
I am on Amazon. I'm also on Smashwords.com. Um, I am on BarnesandNobles.com. I am on. There's a bunch of different affiliate websites and things like that go from Smashwords and CreateSpace, which is where I publish. These books are actually self-published, and I did that because I like the freedom of self-publishing, and the I have say of whatever happens instead of someone else has say, and I only get 10%, um, that kind of thing. But yeah, I really you can get it from those places, and I had a website, but my website crashed, and I haven't necessarily gotten it back up yet. So I'm still working on the website front. But
Gotcha.
if there are any people out there who do, websites and things like that, definitely hit me up. That would be awesome.
And how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, I have an email address. It is jscouncil@yahoo.com,
Okay.
and that would be. I check that every day. So if anyone sends me a message or something like that, I'll get it darn near immediately.
Awesome. I would say thank you for joining us today on Let's Talk Weekly.
Thank you for having me. It's been an absolute blast. I'm very excited to be here and to talk to everybody about my upcoming my novel, and then the one that I'm writing right now. I'm actually writing book 3, so look for that next year. So I'm hoping to get this one written and published faster than I did my last one. So we'll see how it works.
Awesome. And two more questions. You said, I know you said you love Star Wars and Star Trek. So I don't know too many people who are like me who like both. So what do you like about both, real quick?
I am not necessarily sure. They both have their own elements. I think, like with Star Wars, there was just a really, innovative, just storyline with Star Wars. I really, really enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed the movies of Star Wars a lot, like with the voices of James Earl Jones and that kind of thing. Um, just being able to grow up with it, and I think that's exactly the same thing I like about Star Trek too. Is it was very innovative for its time. It gave you a sense of the world is so much bigger. With Star Trek, I mean, it was one of those things where because they are in space and they're living as they do, and no one, we don't really or didn't really at that time know much about space. It was definitely a sense of wow, this could be true, kind of sensation that was had with Star Trek. I grew up with both of them, so I was never really, in my family, we didn't really discriminate one or the other, so nice. I watched them both, I grew up with them both, and it was, always very interesting. I always wanted to be, I like the hairstyle of Leia. So nice. I always wanted to have her hair.
And last question. Batman or Superman next year's movie. Who are you picking? I'm just curious.
If the Batman were different, I would probably pick the Batman. But I don't know about this Batman.
Okay. So the new trailer didn't win you over yet?
It won me over to the movie itself. But okay. I'm not sure if it won me over to this specific Batman. Okay. So I will be watching the movie. I will be in full attendance. But I will say that I like Superman, especially the character of Superman, better than I like, Ben Affleck as Batman. I would say, in all fairness to Ben Affleck, though, it is because I do not know Ben Affleck. I mean, I really don't. He's never played a Batman before, so I don't know how he does with that. And the Superman, he played it. He played Superman before, so I know, relatively how he's going to handle the role. Whereas I do not know how Ben Affleck is going to handle his role. So, right. We shall see about that too on my next time coming on the show, because that's something we're gonna have to see. I don't know.
Well, I'm like always on Team Superman for people that know, but I already hear people like, how dare you? But like, no, Team Superman. Yes. But yeah. but but
Yeah.
but thank you for joining us this evening, and hope you had a wonderful time, and hope everyone had a great time listening.
I had a wonderful time. Thank you so much for having me on the show, and thank you guys for listening. And I definitely won't be the last time that I come on.
Awesome. All right, everybody, have a great evening, and we'll see you next time.